So last week we learned how to add polynomials. This week we're going to learn how to subtract polynomials. So I want you to complete the do now and pause this video and then come back when you have finished. So taking a look at the do now, question number 1, we're adding, so we can just drop those parentheses, and when we combine like terms then we get y squared plus 1y minus 6. Number 2, once again we're adding, so we just drop our parentheses, combine our like terms, and we get 4y squared plus 6y minus 3. And then number 3 is a little bit different because we have a negative outside of our parentheses. And remember, if we have that negative there, that's an invisible negative 1. And we need to distribute it. So negative 1 times 2y gives me negative 2y. And negative 1 times 7 gives me negative 7. So in order to subtract polynomials, what we're going to do is very similar to what we do with adding polynomials, but we need to add one step. Here when I'm subtracting, it's a negative in front of our parentheses. So just like in the do now question, we need to distribute. And then after I distribute, I would just act as if I was adding and then combine like terms. So if I look at my example, I have 2x squared minus 8x plus 4 minus 5x squared minus 3x plus 1. So here I'm subtracting. That's really saying there's a negative 1 in front. So I need to take the negative 1 and distribute it to each term in my parentheses. So I'm just going to drop down the first trinomial, which is 2x squared minus 8x plus 4. Then negative 1 times 5x squared gives me a negative 5x squared. Negative 1 times 3x gives me a positive 3x. And negative 1 times 1 gives me a negative 1. Then I need to combine like terms. So I have the 2x squared and the negative 5x squared, which combine to give me a 3x squared. I have negative 8x and positive 3x, which combine to give me a negative 5x. And then I have a positive 4 and a negative 1, which combine to give me a 3. So let's look at example 1. I have 9x squared plus 5x minus 1 minus negative 2x squared plus 2x plus 7. So what I'm going to do is the first trinomial I could just rewrite. 9x squared plus 5x minus 1. Then I have a minus. That's really an invisible negative 1 there that I need to distribute. So then I have negative 1 times negative 2x squared, which gives me a positive 2x squared. Negative 1 times 2x gives me a negative 2x. And negative 1 times 7 gives me a negative 7. Then I need to just combine like terms. So if I look here, I have 9x squared and 2x squared, which becomes 11x squared. Then I have 5x and negative 2x, which becomes a positive 3x. And then I have a negative 1 and a negative 7, which becomes a negative 8. Then if we recall, we're going to label this. So what is my degree, or my highest exponent here is a 2. And how many terms are there? There are 3. So 2 tells me it's a quadratic. And the 3 tells me it is a trinomial. So let's take a look at example 2. I have 2y to the 4th plus y minus 1 minus 4y to the 4th minus 2y plus 3. So the first trinomial I could just write as 2y to the 4th plus y minus 1. Now my second trinomial, it's a minus, and that's an invisible 1 there. So I need to take that negative 1 and distribute it to each term. Negative 1 times 4y squared becomes negative 4y to the 4th. Negative 1 times negative 2y becomes positive 2y. And negative 1 times 3 becomes a negative 3. Then we need to combine like terms. So here I have 2y to the 4th and negative 4y to the 4th, which combine to give me negative 2y to the 4th. Then I have positive y, and remember that's a positive 1y, and positive 2y, which gives me a positive 3y. And finally, I have a negative 1 and a negative 3, which combine to give me a negative 4. Now we need to label, and my degree, or my highest exponent there, is a 4, and I have 3 terms, so that makes this a quartic trinomial. So now I'd like you to pause this video and try examples 3 and 4, and then come back to check your answer. So if we look at example 3, we can rewrite the first polynomial, and then we need to distribute that -1. When we distribute that -1, we get -7x plus 1x plus 6x plus 9. Then we need to combine like terms. So I have 5x cubed and -7x cubed, which gives me -2x cubed. I have 3x squared, which combines with 1x squared to give me 4x squared. -7x and +6x give me -1x. And -1 and 9 combine to give me a +8. The highest exponent, or my degree here, is a 3. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, which gives me a cubic polynomial. Looking at example 4, I take my first polynomial and I just rewrite it. The second one has the minus, so I need that -1 to be distributed. So I end up with a +2a cubed, a -3a, and a +8. Then I need to combine my like terms. So I have 1a cubed combining with 2a cubed to give me 3a cubed. -4a and -3a give me a -7a, and 5 and 8 gives me a 13. The degree is 3. There are 3 terms, which gives me a cubic trinomial. So now I'd like you to pause this video once again and try 5 and 6 and come back for your answers. So if you look at question number 5, we have our first binomial there that we just rewrote. Then we have that -1 we needed to distribute, which gave us a -1x cubed, -2x, and a +7. We need to combine our like terms. -1x cubed and -1x cubed gave me -2x cubed. The -2x had no other like terms. A -7 and a +7 cancel each other out. So the degree is 3. There are 2 terms, which made this a cubic binomial. So if we look at example 6, our first polynomial we just rewrote. Then we have a minus, which means we have that -1 that we need to distribute. When I distributed that out, I ended up with -1x to the 4th, +3x cubed, -2x cubed, -5x, and a +2. Then we need to combine like terms. So I have 3x to the 4th and -1x to the 4th gave me 2x to the 4th. 2x cubed and 3x cubed gave me 5x cubed. -6x squared and -2x squared gave me a -8x squared. +1x and -5x gave me a -4x. And a -7 and a +2 gave me a -5. Then my degree is 4, and there are 5 terms. So it's a quartic, and anything more 4 terms or more is a polynomial. If you have any questions, please comment on this video.